The day my childhood friend returned from abroad, the boy I sponsored killed himself. When the police called me to the scene, I found the journal he'd left behind. It was hundreds of pages long, filled with an obsessive, unrequited love for me. The person she loves is back. A replacement like me is useless now, right? I heard he's her equal, her childhood sweetheart. A business elite who studied overseas. He must be perfect for her. But why does it still hurt so much? After I die, will Lillian even remember me? Then I opened my eyes. I was back, 3 days earlier, at the welcome home party for Eric. His sister, Laura, was shoving me into his arms, holding up her phone and cheering. I won't accept anyone as my sister-in-law except Lillian. Laura was the #1 shipper of me and her brother, Eric. I'd told her a million times that I had zero interest in him that way. But she never listened, always insisting on pushing us together. Last time, when she shoved me into Eric at the party, I didn't know she'd done it on purpose. Worried about our family's decades-long friendship and my own bond with Laura, I let it slide. I just made her treat me to a few meals later on. But this time, having been reborn, I shot my hand out and snatched the phone from her. I looked at her, practically gritting my teeth. What did you just send? Laura had never seen me look so furious. She just stared, stunned. Her phone wasn't locked, so I got in easily. Just as I thought. Same as last time. She'd secretly snapped a picture of me falling into Eric's arms and sent it to Sam. My brother's back, you know. Hee, see? My sister-in-law is hugging and kissing my brother. They're so in love, I'm so jealous. Why is a replacement like you still clinging to Lillian? My sister-in-law already said she wants you to leave. Can't you just disappear for good? Shameless, shameless, shameless. My arm was trembling from how hard I was gripping the phone. I scrolled up and saw this wasn't the first message Laura had sent Sam. She seemed to humiliate him like this periodically, telling him to get away from me. You're just some scholarship kid Lillian's family sponsors. How dare you look at her like that? If it weren't for your face, you think she'd even glance at you? What do you have to compete with the heir to the Lin family? Pathetic. Ooh, big news. Just a heads up, my brother is coming home. Get ready to be dumped. There were so many messages. But it was almost entirely a one-sided conversation from Laura. Sam had never deleted her, but he'd never replied. Until today. After receiving that photo of us in a staged embrace, he finally responded. A new message came through on Laura's phone. I tapped it open immediately. It was short, just a few words. Okay. I'll disappear. I won't make things difficult for her. My heart seized. I immediately tried to call him back. The call wouldn't go through. He'd already blocked the number. In my past life, Sam took his own life late that night, just a few hours later. An overdose of sleeping pills. I couldn't reach him, and it wasn't until 3 days later that I got the call from the police. In his apartment bedroom, the entire wall was covered in photos of me. On his desk sat a journal. Opening it revealed his sick, hidden obsession, his secret thoughts and desires for me. January 17th. She spoke to me one-on-one today. I was so nervous, my heart felt like it would explode. April 1st. A guy confessed to her. What a coward, using April Fool's Day as a cover, but then again, who's more of a coward than me? April 18th. I was so close to her, I could smell her perfume, I'm such a creep. October 21st. I did that to her. Will she be disgusted with me? October 25th. She asked me to be her boyfriend. Am I dreaming? It's over. I feel like I can't speak. My heart has stopped beating. There was so much more. The very last page was dated the day he died. She said she doesn't want me anymore. It's for the best. A replacement like me would just cause misunderstandings with that man. But it still hurts so much. After I die, will Lillian even remember me? Sam was a scholarship student my family sponsored. He came to live with us during a period when my relationship with Eric was at its worst. He was a senior in high school and was transferring to a school in the US, where he'd also go to college. There was no telling when, or if, he'd ever come back. I was so mad I barely ate for days and couldn't focus on my homework. I was awful to everyone. A few days later, my mom brought a boy home to sponsor. It was Sam. When he showed up at our villa dragging a dusty suitcase, I was shocked. He looked so much like Eric. That first glance, especially, almost fooled me completely. My mom patted me on the head and sighed. There. I found you a new playmate. Can you let Eric go now? I'd heard that I was causing chaos for the Lin family, too. Due to shifts in the market, their business was refocusing on Europe and the US. Eric was being sent abroad early for training. But I was acting like a child, clinging to the friend I'd grown up with. I turned and went back to my room, sending Eric a short text. You can go. I won't bother you anymore. Have a safe trip. That night, he came to my window and secretly knocked. Lillian, wait for me to come back. I shook my head. No. What if you never come back? Am I supposed to wait forever? Eric, we're still friends. But I'm not going to wait for anyone. I refuse. I was 16 the year Eric left. We'd always been close. When we were little, our fathers even talked about a childhood engagement. But after my dad passed away, the subject was slowly dropped and forgotten. So later, when I got together with Sam, a lot of people thought I'd just found a replacement. There was plenty of gossip, both subtle and overt. Doesn't that Sam guy look exactly like Eric? Right? If he didn't have that face, would the Whites have even sponsored him? And now he's latched onto the family heiress. So shameless. Of course, they mostly said these things behind my back. But the truth is, my relationship with Sam had nothing to do with Eric. To be fair, they did look alike. But that was just on the surface. If you looked closely, their auras were completely different. Eric was confident and flamboyant. Sam was quiet, restrained, and calm. He didn't talk much, and he was gentle and introverted. He was 16 when he came to live with us. He was 24 when he took his life. In my previous life, we had 8 years together. Because Eric was abroad, my mother always had Sam stay by my side. Plus, he was a brilliant student. Especially in math, which I could never wrap my head around. He could glance at any difficult problem and see the solution instantly. So I was always pestering him to tutor me. On my 21st birthday, I had too much to drink. In a hazy stupor, I thought I saw him lean in close and give my lips a soft, careful peck. It was as light as a dragonfly landing on water. Gone in an instant. I could have called him out on it, but I kept my eyes closed. To my surprise, I found that I didn't mind the feeling at all. Sam. I think I kind of liked him. After spending a few days processing this realization, I marched right up to him without any hesitation. And I asked him to be my boyfriend. Don't you dare say you don't like me, Sam. I saw you sneak a kiss a few days ago when I was asleep at my desk. Humph, why were you too scared to confess? Did you really need me to make the first move? I'd heard the replacement rumors before. But in my past life, I never paid them any mind. Back then, I thought that if you just ignored baseless, boring gossip, it would go away, right? But thinking back now, how could Sam have ignored it? During the years we were together, how much ridicule did he hear? How much humiliation and judgment did he have to endure? If I had just cleared things up with him sooner, maybe things wouldn't have ended that way. I took a deep breath, pulling myself out of my memories. I tossed the phone aside and strode out of the room. Laura, probably seeing me that angry for the first time, was startled. She ran a few steps after me. Lillian. Where are you going? It's my brother's welcome home party. Why are you leaving? Did I do something wrong? I paused. I turned back to her and said, enunciating every word. Laura. Sam is my boyfriend. He's the person I love. I will not tolerate anyone disrespecting him. Do you understand? Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Eric put down his wine glass. He lifted his gaze, his eyes dark as he looked over at me. Half an hour. It took about half an hour to get to Sam's apartment from there. There should have been enough time. But of course, just 1 block away, I hit a massive traffic jam. The lights changed, but the cars didn't move an inch. I couldn't wait any longer. I abandoned my car and started running toward his apartment in my high heels. I stumbled and nearly fell, my heart pounding in my chest by the time I finally reached his door. The key was under the flower pot. I grabbed it, my hands shaking as I unlocked the door and burst inside. Sam! I gasped for breath and shouted. The apartment was empty. No one answered. Only the journal on the desk, its pages flipping in the breeze. Where did he go? Was I too late? Did I run out of time? My fingers trembled, my mind a chaotic mess. I was about to run back out to search for him when I turned and crashed right into someone. Sam. He was just getting back. Sam was completely shocked to see me here. His face was pale, and he didn't look well at all. When he bumped into me, he froze. He hadn't expected me. After the surprise wore off, he bit his lip. After a long moment, he finally spoke, his voice heavy. Lillian. Weren't you at a party tonight for a friend who came back? The mention of the word friend seemed to snap Sam back to reality. A wave of sadness washed over his eyes. He turned his head, deliberately looking away from me. As if it took all his strength, he forced the words out. That person, he's really important to you, isn't he? Actually. You didn't have to come here to tell me in person. I won't make things difficult for you. You know I would never, ever tell him about us. Whenever Sam got nervous, the tips of his ears would turn red. And his speech would get choppy. After all this time together, I had him figured out. He was a complete mess right now. His body was tense, his fingers trembling. He must have worked up a huge amount of courage just to say those words, to draw a line between us. I noticed he was clutching a black plastic bag. I couldn't tell what was inside. He was awkwardly trying to hide it behind his back. I glanced at him. Then I snorted coldly. Is that so? How generous of you, Sam. So you can just toss your girlfriend aside, huh? In the next instant, I lunged forward, grabbed the bag he was trying to hide, and yanked it away from him. The cheap plastic tore in the struggle. And in a flash, dozens of bottles filled with sleeping pills tumbled out. They were all sealed, clearly brand new. The air went still. I looked up. Our eyes met. Slowly, I spoke, one word at a time. Sam. Don't tell me. You bought all these pills. Because you were planning to push me onto someone else, then use this stuff for your research to save all of humanity? Sam's field of study was pharmacology. In my past life, when he was choosing his college major, my mom suggested he go into finance. Our family business was an investment, after all. With Sam's genius-level math skills and the addition of quantitative analysis, he was destined for our company. It was easy to imagine him becoming a terrifying money-making machine in the capital markets. So when he gave up that path, everyone was surprised. Typically, medicine is a much harder field of study, and the income isn't as high as the returns from investing. I didn't understand it at first, either. Even an outsider like me could see how hard he was working, sometimes completely neglecting his own health. It wasn't until after Sam died that I read his journal and understood. If only I could cure Lillian's illness. That's my life's ambition. Yes. That's right. I have a congenital genetic disease. The doctors said the symptoms usually don't appear until after 50, and that it would have almost no impact on my youth. My relatives all tried to comfort me, saying that medicine was advancing so quickly. Maybe in a few years, there'd be a miracle drug that would cure it completely. I actually thought so, too. So I didn't usually feel anxious or sad about it. For one, my mom had invested in several biotech firms that were specifically researching this type of genetic disorder. And for another, living to be over 50 is pretty good. My dad, for example, died in a car crash before he even hit 40, long before he had to worry about any illness. Later, just as everyone predicted, a cure was developed. By Sam. In my past life, after he killed himself, his mentor found me. He told me that the paper Sam had mailed out just before he died had been published, and the research had caused a sensation throughout the entire industry. You must be Lillian, right? Companies and universities have already contacted us about buying the patent. It won't be long before this drug enters clinical trials and production. Sam mentioned you to me many times. He said if anything ever happened to him, he wanted you to have everything. So that patent fee, we'll be transferring it to your account. Sam died. He left me a multi-million-dollar patent fee and a tailor-made safety net. But before all that, he never said a word about it. He never told me his field of research was connected to me. I crouched down and picked up the pill bottles one by one, stuffing them into my purse. I zipped it shut. Sam. Stop hiding things from me. Your research is about me, isn't it? I may be a little oblivious, but I know a thing or two about my own stupid illness. It's a blood disorder. Do you really need sleeping pills for that kind of research? I stood up. I watched as his face grew paler and paler, then pursed my lips. I raised my voice. If it's not for research, then you're not thinking of using these to kill yourself, are you? Whatever it is, Sam, you're coming with me to the hospital for a checkup, right now. If there's anything wrong, you have to get treatment. I practically dragged Sam into the car and forced him to go to the hospital. I could tell he had wanted to cut ties with me. But my outburst left him completely flustered and at a loss. The whole way there, he kept trying to explain, his voice panicked and weak. Lillian, are you mad? I didn't mean to hide my research from you. I was afraid the experiments would fail and I'd disappoint you. And the sleeping pills. I didn't take any. I haven't taken them, really. His voice was quiet on that last part. Sam probably wasn't lying, based on the timeline from my past life. He shouldn't have started his suicide plan yet. But what if? I couldn't risk any accidents. Besides, sleeping pills aside, he was long overdue for a full physical. The man seemed to have no idea how to take care of himself. For as long as I'd known him, when he wasn't with me, he was completely consumed by his research and papers. He barely slept more than 4 or 5 hours a night. If he kept that up, he wouldn't need to kill himself. His own body would give out first. In my past life, Sam took such good care of me. So this time, it was my turn to keep him under my watch and make sure nothing happened to him. We got to the hospital, and the test results came back quickly. The drug test was negative. But he had a bunch of other miscellaneous issues. Anemia, malnutrition, stomach inflammation, polyps, things like that. Nothing major, but the doctor recommended he be admitted for observation and treatment. Of course, Sam didn't want to. But he could never win an argument with me. After I scolded him a bit, he meekly sat down on the hospital bed. I glanced at him, then took out my phone and ordered 2 meals for delivery. It would be a while before the food arrived, and the room fell silent again. I propped my chin on my hand, looking at the boy across from me who was pretending to be asleep. I cleared my throat, hesitating, about to say something. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Someone I never expected to see showed up. Eric. He should have been at his party. But here he was, wearing a long black trench coat and holding a pink cake box. His brows were furrowed as he stood in the doorway, staring at me. My uncle said you were here with someone else. Is it him? the one they say looks just like me? How could I have forgotten something so important? The director of this hospital was Eric's uncle. And, come to think of it, his uncle was a bit like Laura, a shipper of me and Eric. Though he was much more subtle about it than she was. Back when Eric was still here, before he went abroad, every time I came to the hospital for a checkup, he'd always call Eric to come, too. Then he'd tell us seriously, it's nothing major. It's decades away, and by then, medicine will have a cure for sure. Don't you worry. Later, when Eric and I drifted apart, he even posted something wistful on his social media. Now that I was at the hospital again, I could guess that the director had, out of habit, tipped Eric off. I sighed. I pushed him out of the room and closed the door behind me. I nodded. His name is Sam. Eric. I want you to know, and I don't want anyone else to misunderstand anymore. He's my boyfriend. I love him. And I love him because he's Sam. It has nothing to do with anything else. And it certainly has nothing to do with his looks. As the last few words left my mouth, I saw Eric's expression instantly turn cold. A vein throbbed on his forehead. His gaze darkened. Lillian, are you serious? I haven't been in touch with my old friends much since I've been away. No one told me you were dating anyone. It wasn't until I just asked around that I found out this guy is a scholarship student your family sponsors. I'm not being prejudiced, but... He paused, softening his tone. You haven't been around many people. You might not be able to tell what real love is. Someone with his kind of background is fine to fool around with. But is he really worth getting serious about? Was he worth it? No one thought so. My friends, the people I grew up with, and now, Eric, who had just come back. They all thought I was just bored and playing around. But isn't whether someone is worth it something I get to decide for myself? I shook my head. I thought for about a minute, then looked straight at him. I am serious, Eric. The kind of serious where I'm thinking about marriage. That's right. I want to marry him. Eric had intended to bring me back to the party. Now, things had ended on a sour note. I'd clearly managed to piss him off. But even so, before he left, he still gave me the little cake he'd picked up on the way. Caramel chocolate, from my favorite bakery. It was still open after all these years. And he still remembered. By the time I got back to the hospital room after being out for so long, the food delivery had arrived. As I unpacked the containers, I snuck a glance at Sam out of the corner of my eye. His head was down, his expression hidden in the shadows. After a moment, he reached out and pulled me to sit on the edge of the bed. He started setting out the bowls and chopsticks himself. Then, he finally spoke, hesitantly bringing up Eric. He's the one who went abroad back then, isn't he? Sam paused, forcing a smile. His voice dropped. He wasn't happy to see me, was he? Lillian, you don't have to stay here with me. Shouldn't you go back with him? Okay, hold on. What was this? He's the actual boyfriend, so why does he sound like the jealous mistress in some drama? I glanced at Sam. I took the bowl of soup he handed me and took a slow sip. Oh. I'm not going back. He knows I'm going to be very busy for the next few days. I drew out my words, slowly putting the spoon down. Sam. I just told Eric that I'm planning on getting married. I didn't even get to finish before there was a clatter. The chopsticks fell from Sam's hand and hit the floor. His face was pale, his fingers trembling. After a long moment, he finally, slowly, lifted his head. His lips quivered. Is that so? Lillian, you're getting married? So you were just outside discussing it with him? I am happy for you. Sam's gaze rested on my face. It was light, ethereal, as if he were taking one last look. I leaned forward. I tried my best to ignore his shattered expression. I poked his cheek and cleared my throat. I said it on purpose. Is that all? Just a happy for you? I still have to pick a wedding dress, take photos, choose a venue. You have to help me with all of that. I can't have my wedding without you." Sam's eyes were red. He stared at me, unblinking, his voice trembling. "You want me to personally watch you get married? Isn't that a little too cruel to me?" A single tear slid from the corner of his eye. Sam was crying. He covered his face, as if he couldn't hold it in any longer. "Just leave me to my fate, Lillian. I know you have someone you love. I can disappear immediately. I won't get in your way. But, making me watch you marry someone else, I'll go crazy. I'm done. I can't take it. I really can't stand it when he cries." Every time Sam gets that broken, pitiful look, it's like a shot of adrenaline straight to my system. It makes me restless, my heart itching with desire. I licked my lips. I leaned in to kiss the tear from the corner of his eye while my hand fumbled with the buttons of his shirt. "Who said I was marrying someone else? Are you an idiot, Sam? Aren't you my boyfriend? If I'm not marrying my boyfriend, who am I going to marry?" Beneath my palm, I could feel the hard wall of his chest. In the thickening atmosphere, I could feel his heart thudding, fast and frantic. Sam cupped my head, pulling me back a little. His breathing was ragged. But he was still trying to hold on, to suppress it, asking me over and over. "What did you say? Who are you marrying? Lillian, say it again. Do you even know who you're looking at right now?" I burst out laughing and pushed him down onto the bed. "Sam. You don't have a fever, do you?" I said, "Marriage. With me. Now. What, are you not willing? You don't want to marry me? Or are you too timing me with someone else?" The tears fell from Sam's eyes even faster. Like a little kid in kindergarten. The kind who has been dreaming of a special reward from his parents, waiting and waiting. And now he finally has it. He raised a hand and messily wiped the tears from his cheeks, then chased after my lips. His kisses were clumsy, without any rhythm. "Don't say that. You know I only love you." I cut him off, biting his lip. "I love you too. Only you, Sam." So that's settled. Thanks to Eric's uncle, the doctors at the hospital all recognized me and even approved a VIP suite for me. It was spacious, bright, and extremely private. No one would know what we were doing. That day, I pinned him beneath me. As I watched his red, swollen eyes and ragged breathing, I leaned in close to his ear and explained everything about me and Eric. If I liked him, I would have chased him all the way to New York. "You think I can't afford a plane ticket? You idiot. So there's no such thing as a replacement, you understand? Why do you believe everything other people say? Why didn't you just ask me? Do you have any idea how to respect my opinion, to consider who I actually want to spend my life with?" Sam was rendered speechless. He could only trace my eyes and lips with his hand, over and over, sighing softly. Then, when I had no energy left, he rolled over and gently held me in his arms. The next day, I woke up to bright morning light. I looked over. The boy who had been nothing but sobs and tears yesterday was back to his usual serious self. Sam was dressed in a white shirt and had already ordered breakfast. It was all laid out for me on the table. I yawned. I glanced at my watch. Then I rolled over and tugged on his sleeve. "Sam, it's Saturday." He hummed in response, looking at me quizzically. "What about it?" "City Hall is closed on Saturdays, so we can't get our marriage license today," I explained. "It's a logistical issue. I'm not the kind of girl who sleeps with you and then ditches you, okay? I'm not trying to stand you up. But since we don't have any plans today, my mom just got back from Europe a few days ago. Let's go talk to her about us." If there was one person who had absolutely no objections to my relationship with Sam, it was my mom. It probably had to do with her own life experience. She was a formidable career woman in her own right. She came from a small fishing village in the south, with no background and no family connections. She got into a top university through sheer hard work. While working, she met my dad. A rich second-generation heir who was starting his own business. By the standards of my dad's old money family, my mom was nowhere near qualified to be their daughter-in-law. But her personal abilities were just too incredible. In just a few short years, she not only helped my dad close several major business deals but also had the foresight to spot a trap set by a rival, saving the entire parent company from a massive loss. These things completely changed my grandfather's attitude toward her. And just like that, my mom went from being a nobody from a small town to marrying into a prestigious, wealthy family in the capital. Unfortunately, my dad and mom didn't last. When I was 7 or 8, my dad died in an accident. My mom took over the company and resources he left behind. She built it up on her own. The assets and scale have multiplied several times over, and she's now firmly established as the industry leader, with plans to expand into other sectors. When she found out I was dating Sam, she didn't say much at first. Then, she spent a week doing a thorough background check on him, even though she already knew the basics about his family, background, and grades from when we first sponsored him. Finally, she sent me a short text. Not bad. Little Sam seems pretty reliable. Looking back, my mom probably already knew about his field of research back then. She just didn't tell me, same as Sam. I called my mom on the way over. She let out a little ooh. She wasn't too surprised. Make sure you get your prenuptial assets in order. And your mother had to close a lot of deals to marry into the whites. I'm not trying to be harsh. I'll give Sam 3 years. Whether he's doing research or starting a company, he needs to build something for himself. We don't support freeloaders around here. I glanced at the boy beside me. The phone was on speaker, so he heard everything. Sam's expression didn't change much. He hummed in agreement, then looked at me and nodded. Okay. Don't worry. In 3 years, I won't let you down. And I won't let Lillian down, either. The afternoon sun was perfect. There were cicadas buzzing, a light breeze, and a child skipping by with a balloon. I heard my mom make a TSK sound. You two figure out the engagement details and send me a draft. I'll send out the announcement to our circle in the next couple of days. The rest is up to you. This empty nester has to get back to making money. News of my engagement to Sam spread through the wealthy social circles like wildfire. Of course, there was gossip. Some said my family was just grooming a husband for me. Others said I was heartbroken over not getting Eric and was settling for a rebound. Some even predicted that even if we did get married, it wouldn't last. In the past, I would have just ignored it and let the rumors die down on their own. But after everything that happened, I wasn't going to be so nonchalant this time. I pinned a post to the top of my social media account, clearing up all the old rumors about me and Eric once and for all. While two families are very close and have business ties, Eric and I have never dated. I have always seen him purely as a big brother figure. So, I hope that my friends, as well as the speculative business media, will stop making assumptions. After posting that statement, I thought things would finally settle down. Until, sometime later, I got a call from someone I hadn't heard from in a while. It was Laura, her voice tentative and tearful. Lillian, can you please come to our house? My brother's sick. He keeps calling your name in his fever. I really don't know what to do, I'm so sorry. When I got to the Lynn house, Laura was standing by the living room sofa, looking at me timidly. I heard that when her grandfather found out about her relentless efforts to break up me and Sam, he'd called her in and given her a harsh lecture. What business is it of yours who they're dating? Why are you getting so worked up? You've made us a laughingstock. With an attitude like yours, I doubt you'd accomplish anything even if you joined the company. I'm cutting your allowance for 6 months. You're being moved out of management and down to an entry-level position. To be honest, I could never stay mad at Laura for long. She'd followed me around like a puppy since we were kids. She was a little overweight, so she didn't have many friends. Whenever she got bullied, I was the one who stood up for her. Over time, she became my little shadow. The kind who wanted to hold my hand on the way to the bathroom. The incident at the party was probably the angriest I'd ever been with her. Laura gripped the edge of the sofa. After a moment's hesitation, she tried to grab my sleeve like she used to. She led me upstairs. I'm sorry, Lillian. I'm not trying to force you and my brother together against your will this time. It's just, he was so scary when he had that fever. And I was thinking, he's going back to the US in a few days anyway. So, Eric was going back to the US? That was news to me. I thought he was back for good this time. In his room, he was wearing blue silk pajamas, leaning against the headboard. I hadn't seen him in over a month. He looked like he'd lost a lot of weight. When he looked up from his book, I could faintly see the shadows under his eyes and a light stubble on his chin. Lillian. He set his magazine aside and gave me a strained smile. It was tinged with bitterness. I didn't think you'd come. It's Laura's fault, really. Sorry to bother you for no reason. It was nothing serious, but she made it sound so dramatic. I shook my head. I found a chair nearby and sat down, explaining, it's no trouble at all. I told you, Eric, we'll always be friends. And friends don't bother each other. The air seemed to go still for a moment. Eric let out a soft laugh. He closed his eyes and exhaled heavily. When he opened them again, he seemed to have made up his mind. He looked directly at me. Lillian. I've been having this dream lately. In the dream, I'm back in high school, during that time we were fighting. You told me not to leave, so I didn't. I stayed here. You got into my university. We did homework together, watched movies together, did experiments together. After graduation, you joined your family's company, and I joined mine. Our families started working together, and our businesses boomed. Everyone said we were the golden couple, a match made in heaven, the most perfect pair. The day I proposed to you, so many friends and family were there, all cheering and applauding. And you were right there in front of me, just smiling and smiling at me. I cut Eric off. Eric, stop. It was just a dream. It's not real. Eric looked at me, a flash of pain in his eyes. It's not real? Why not? Lillian. But that's how I feel. If I had chosen to stay back then, if I hadn't left, that would have been our ending. I stood up and shook my head. No. Even if he had made a different choice, even if my mother had never brought Sam into my life, the future is unpredictable. Who could say what would have happened? I was about to speak. But Eric suddenly sat up straight. He stopped me. He held up his hand in a gesture to pause. He looked at me with a pleading, almost begging, expression. Please don't deny my feelings, okay? Please, Lillian. Even if it's just a dream, can you please not shatter it? His face was still flushed from the fever. He clearly wasn't fully recovered. I couldn't bear to look at him and turned my head away. I hear you're going abroad again, Eric. You should find a girlfriend. Laura has always wanted a sister-in-law, and it would be good for you to have someone to take care of you over there. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw him glare at me. No. His voice was low and trembling. I won't wish you well, Lillian. I'm going to keep waiting. Waiting. Waiting for that one day, maybe the day you and Sam get a divorce. Even though Sam moved out of our villa after starting college, we always kept his room for him. It's at the end of the hall on the second floor, and the layout has never changed. When I pushed the door open, he was on the balcony, on the phone. The afternoon sun streamed in, casting a soft, golden glow around his silhouette. I watched him for a moment. I was getting bored. My gaze fell on the desk. An orange-covered notebook caught my eye. It was the journal Sam had left behind after he died. On impulse, I quietly picked it up and flipped to the last page. There it was, the last sentence he wrote on the day of Eric's party. But it still hurts so much. After I die, will Lillian even remember me? In my past life, everything had ended right there, abruptly. Nothing more. But now, things had changed. Those lines were hastily crossed out with a pen, and a new entry was written below. Lillian saved me. I don't think she's going to leave me. I'm starting to have unrealistic fantasies. Could it be that I'm the one she loves? I'm going to marry Lillian. Sam, you are literally the happiest person in the world. Why have I been thinking about that night so much these past few days? Lillian's lips are so soft. Sam, you are such a pervert. I was thoroughly enjoying myself. I didn't notice the young man had finished his call and walked in from the balcony. When he saw me grinning as I flipped through his journal, he was horrified. Lillian. WW, what are you reading? Ah. Busted. To be fair, secretly reading someone's diary is a bit unethical. I scratched my nose. Feeling a little sheepish, I leaned against him and kissed his abs. All right. I grabbed the collar of Sam's shirt, pulled him down to change the subject. Come here and kiss me. And just pretend you didn't see anything. Sam blushed. As the kiss deepened, growing sticky and intimate, he pulled away. He let out a ragged breath. Then he glanced at his watch and closed his eyes. He steadied his breathing. Lillian, I have to go to the university first. That was my mentor on the phone. He has something to discuss with me in his office. What do you want for dinner tonight? I'll pick it up on my way back, okay? His mentor wanted to see him. I did a quick mental calculation. It was about time. This must be the point where Sam's paper gets published in a journal and starts getting attention and buzz in the industry. His mentor probably wanted to talk to him about that. I squeezed Sam's hand. I nodded at him. Take me with you. I had heard of Sam's mentor long ago. Mainly because he wasn't just famous in academia, he also came from a prominent family. A side branch of some real estate dynasty. But he seemed to have no interest in running a business, so he dedicated himself to research. He was in his 50s now, still unmarried. No kids, either. When Sam and I knocked on his office door and went inside, the professor was still working at his computer. When he saw me, he was visibly surprised, then his gaze shifted to his student. Sam quickly made the introduction. Professor, this is Lillian. My girlfriend. The one I've told you about. The professor said, a look of understanding on his face. He stared at me for a moment. Then he pushed a magazine and a thick stack of documents toward us. Lillian. You've come at a good time. You know about Sam's research focus, right? It happens to be related to your condition. His paper has just been published and has received recognition from many of his peers and top experts in medicine. Just now, several renowned institutions contacted the university, wanting to license his patent for production. That's good news, isn't it? Of course it was. In the paper, they had already conducted several rounds of animal trials. The success rate was extremely high. That was why those pharmaceutical companies were willing to pay a hefty price to license the patent. In my previous life, the patent was sold to someone else entirely. He received a substantial royalty fee, and that was that. But this time, the professor suggested something different. He tapped his fingers on the desk and looked at Sam. The research is already done. The production side of things won't be that difficult. So, have you considered starting your own company? Sam and I had actually discussed this idea on the way over. Since his future research would involve other drugs and diseases, starting his own company to handle commercialization seemed like the most profitable option. But what we hadn't expected was that he would also suggest it. After all, this was the man who couldn't even be bothered to inherit his own family's business. In our minds, we thought he looked down on things like business, investing, and making money. He rolled his eyes. I'm a lazy man, it's true. But you can't be like me, Sam. Your future mother-in-law has high standards. You'd better make me proud and not let her look down on you. Sam's eyes blinked. What do you mean, Professor? You know Lillian's mother? The atmosphere turned a little awkward. Professor, he stroked his chin, his gaze drifting away. He cleared his throat a couple of times. She never mentioned me to you? Ah, well, that was a long time ago. We were university classmates back then. But even then, she wasn't impressed with me. Said I was too lazy, too unmotivated. I thought I was all right. Though I admit I could never compare to her. Sam did not disappoint his professor. Within 3 years of its founding, his company secured multiple rounds of funding and expanded rapidly, becoming a celebrated new star in the business world. And as it turned out, the new drug he had spent countless nights in the lab researching for me was indeed effective. Combined with surgery, and after several tests, checkups, and screenings, the doctors declared me more or less cured. All I needed were regular follow-up appointments. The day we got this news happened to be our 3rd wedding anniversary. Sam drove over to pick me up from work for dinner. Sitting in the car, watching the scenery flash by, I suddenly remembered something. Before we got married, my mom had given him a 3-year deadline. In that time, Sam had to build something of his own. I yawned and massaged his shoulder. You know, my mom is really satisfied with you now. You're so good at making money. Very impressive. But with so much going on at the company every day, you still pick me up and drop me off, and take care of me at night. How do you manage it all? Sam turned his head and smiled at me. It's not too much. As long as Lillian doesn't find me annoying. So many people have liked you over the years. I have to be the very, very best, or else I'll feel insecure. I paused for a second. Who? Sam didn't say anything. Not until the car pulled into the driveway of our villa. He leaned over, gently placed a hand on my shoulder, and brought his lips to mine. You don't need to know about anyone else. You just need to have eyes for me. Sam's epilogue. Before he married Lillian, Laura came to see Sam one time. She was about to go abroad. Since she wasn't doing well at the company, Eric had decided to just take her to America with him. The Lin family was too big, with too many branches. The web of interests was too complex, she probably couldn't handle it on her own. Sam sat in the coffee shop, listening quietly as Laura awkwardly apologized. He knew she hadn't called him here just for that. Sure enough, after an uncomfortable silence, Laura took a notebook out of her bag and pushed it across the table toward him, frowning. Her tone wasn't friendly. Since Lillian has chosen you, I won't say anything more. But you know, she and I grew up together. I've known her a lot longer than you have. The way we understand each other is something you can't even imagine. She pursed her lips and sighed. This is a notebook I've kept since we were kids. It's all about Lillian. It has all her likes and dislikes, and some things that happened to her in the past. You should read it. I want you to memorize it all, okay? I don't want her to get married and have to be the one accommodating her husband. Sam blinked. He opened the notebook. He already knew most of the contents. For instance, Lillian didn't like sour things, but she loved sweets. She was afraid of the dark and needed a little light to sleep. She hated rainy days and loved going for walks when it was sunny. But there were occasional mentions of things from her childhood that Sam didn't know about. The times she argued and fought with kids in elementary school, or chased after boys from other classes, no one had ever told him about those things. He let out a breath. He looked up at Laura. She was standing up, about to leave. Sam stopped her. Miss Lin. Are you in love with Lillian? Laura froze. She looked down and was silent for a moment. Then, defensively, she raised her voice. That's none of your business. All you need to know is that my brother and I will be watching you. If you ever dare to treat Lillian badly, we will come back immediately and kick you out of her life.